Hello Legacy Savers. Today we're going to look at graphing sine and cosine functions with vertical shifts. So go ahead and grab out your notebook and we will get started.
Vertical shifts are a little bit of a different animal. So we have amplitude, remember, that's still absolute value of A. Our period is still 2 pi divided by B. My increment is my period divided by 4. Now, your vertical shift is going to be the K value. If it is a plus outside, it is going to go up, and if it is a negative, it's going to go down. Now, what you're going to want to do, we're going to draw in our horizontal line, which is called the midline of the graph. So we are going to show where the x-axis is, and then we're going to draw with a different color our midline, okay? So let's try a couple of examples. So the very first thing, amplitude, it's still 3. My period, 2 pi divided by 2, so just pi. My increment will be pi over 4. Vertical shift. Notice this minus 2 on the outside. That means we're going to go down 2. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw in my line, but I'm going to make my x-axis not in the middle because ultimately I got to go down from it, right? So let's put a line, our x-axis, all the way up there. Okay? Now, I'm then going to do my vertical shift. We're going to change our plan a little bit. My vertical shift, I'm going to make it purple. So my vertical shift, I got to go down 2. So I'm going to go down 1, 2. So this would be -1, this would be -2. What I'm then going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to put a solid line right here through -2. What happens now? Well, now we continue on like we normally would. But this is our new x-axis. It's the new midline. So now from here I have to do my amplitude. So my amplitude is from 1, 2, 3. So right here. Then we're going to go down 3 from here. So -3, -4. We're going to have one all the way down here at -5. Notice this is going to be a little different. That's where these colors are coming in. So we're going to put in our amplitude up here. -5. Can't draw a straight line to save my life tonight. There we go. Let's put in our increments. So I got pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, and 4 pi over 4. And then I got -pi over 4, -2 pi over 4, -3 pi over 4, and -4 pi over 4. There we go. Now, let's draw in our dots. We're starting at sine, right? So sine is not going to start here, though. It's going to start at our midline. So it's going to start right here. And then it's going to cross up and hit our amplitude right there. And then it's going to cross over. Now, it's not going to cross over here, though. It's going to cross over on our midline at that point. And it's going to bounce down here at our amplitude and then cross over there at our midline. Then we're going to bounce down here, cross over our midline, bounce up here, then cross over at our midline. So it looks like we're going to do something like this. Like that. So my domain, guys, is still -infinity to infinity, but your range is a little different. Notice we are bouncing between -5 and 1. So my range is from -5 to 1. So you're going to want to be kind of careful with that with your vertical shifting because that does change your range a little bit. Okay? Let's try one more. So this negative here, we do know we're flipped. So let's keep that in mind, okay? Amplitude 1, period 2 pi divided by 4, or just pi over 2. My increment would be pi over 2 divided by 4. That's pi over 8. Don't worry about it too much, okay? Vertical shift, looks like we're going up 1. So, let's go ahead and graph here. I'm going to put my normal x-axis a little bit down because we are going up with my x-axis, okay? Let's do our midline here. So I'm going to go up 1. So right here at 1 is where my new x-axis or my midline is going to be for our graph. Okay? And then now let's go ahead and do our amplitude. So from here I'm going to go up 1 and down 1. Notice my amplitude is actually going to be my x-axis, right? So we're going to put our dotted lines here. This guy's going to be pretty skinny compared to normal. What we normally have for our graphs, or we've been doing recently. It's going to be a pretty skinny graph. There we go. And then let's go ahead and put and do our increments, which is pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, 3 pi over 8, and 4 pi over 8. Then it looks like I got negative pi over 8, negative 2 pi over 8, negative 3 pi over 8, and finally negative 4 pi over 8. Okay? We are doing a flipped cosine. So normally he would have started up here, but he's not. He's going to start down here. And then he's going to cross over here in our midline, bounce up here, cross over here, and bounce down here. Same thing. Cross, bounce, cross, bounce. There we go. So my domain, negative infinity to infinity. My range, though, guys, is from 0 to 2. My 2 amplitude amounts. And that's the end of this video. See you later, Sabers.